I have said this before, and some people were like in the comments saying, James, you don't know what you're talking about. I'm like, listen, this movement is actually religious. It's a religious movement. Well, here is a man with some credibility. When he speaks, some people might listen. So let's take a listen to George Joe Brown.
Now, if you tell this to media, won't talk about what you're talking about right now, but people will say that's because of systemic racism. That's because all of that's been the reason why we are where we are right now, Judge. Because you're being you're not being compassionate to see the pain and the suffering and the challenges Black America's experienced. It's because of the systemic racism that we have. What would you say?
Okay, yeah, get over it. In other words, buck it up. You know, it's adversity. The world's got adversity. It always has. If it's not a tiger or a lion trying to eat you, it's this. So face it, become prepared to deal with it. Stop looking for excuses, even if there are some. Don't take them. Just say it's something to go conquer. I did something. Now, one thing I will say about this, they have a habit in this country of using black people as guinea pigs. So there is this anti masculine movement. And back in the 60s, they perceived black men to be the most overtly masculine. So let's attack them first. If we destroyed them and put them in their place, and black women know how to do this well already, then we can make this move up, and then we can do stuff at the top that'll filter down with the propaganda so you unman the country. Meanwhile, the People's Republic of China in January 2021 put an official man up campaign in place, and so did Russia some years before. Now, I will say this. My former in-laws, or rather my former daughter-in-law, was born in Russian, but she was in the U.S. Navy as a translator, so she was naturalized. Now, if you get what Putin is saying over there to justify Ukraine, it's the following. One, to tamp down resurgent Nazism because it was rampant in Ukraine. Two, to do something about the sex trafficking that's going on over there. There's overt sex slavery, in fact. And three, to save the country from imposing the LGBTQIA plus cult.
Yeah, there we go. That's where I got it from.
Mm,
You heard that? You don't hear that from the West.
no, you won't, because they don't want themselves exposed.
Yeah, and it's not the first time I've heard this. Putin himself came out and spoke about this. When that guy was released, the guy that was traded for, what's it, Grinder?
Brittany Griner,
Brittany Griner. What was his name? The machine,
the Merchant of Death.
the Dimension of Death.
Yeah.
When he went there, he actually had an interview. He spoke about this, what we are doing to our own people, and Putin himself also spoke about this, saying that stuff over there, the West, and what we're doing is just crazy bad. It's ridiculous.
Mm.
Yeah, and that's what he's addressing here. That's crazy. It's just wow. So influence in the LGBT community has caused Putin to say, you know what, I'll go to war than to let that happen to my country. That's just crazy. Wow.
On the rest of the world. Now, I was surprised. I do this X space now, used to be Twitter, and I thought I was getting trolled by some gays that were calling in, but I was surprised to find that they were very much opposed to LGBTQIA as a cult. Like somebody said, well, you can be Islamic, but that doesn't mean you support ISIS or Al Qaeda, or you can be Christian. That doesn't mean you supported Reverend Jim Jones and drinking Kool-Aid at large church picnics in Guyana. So it's like a lot of them have bad memories about this exposure to pedophilia, and they don't like grooming. And a lot of folk are decent to say you should not deal with children and sex in the same phrase or same paragraph. So we've got these things, and you have to understand what we're facing. From the way Putin explains it, is it's like a religion. Now, to understand that, think of Buddhism. It's an old, ancient, honorable religion, but there's no deity. But it's a system of philosophy. So what you run into with LGBTQIA plus, et cetera, is a system of philosophy that is being imposed rapidly by the government. It's being crammed down the throats of the kids and the people. You can't put a Christian cross under an American flag on a government building. You can't put the crescent, the Jewish star, a Hindu symbol or Buddha or whatever it may be, but you can put a rainbow flag. And
Why is that? Good point. Yeah, man.
Yeah,
He's on-
I
he's on
mean,
point.
he's not wrong.
Yeah.
And it is becoming a very cult-like mentality, and it's all about the idea of what it means to be LGBTQ, whatever.
Mm-hmm. It's about the idea. You don't need a deity. You don't need a deity to have a religion. All you need is a philosophy,
And an
ideology.
idea.
Yeah, an ideology that you live by. And when it becomes principle and people are able to join it, it's a movement because a person can be, I guess, can join the religion. You know what I'm saying? Just
Yeah,
like
you get
can,
indoctrinated.
you can be converted, and once you are converted, you feel like it's your need to, like the Great Commission, right? You feel like you can go on. Like that person we were looking at from Dr. Phil earlier, feel like I'm gonna go to college and study this stuff, and I'm gonna go and
And
do
you
this
have to
idea.
spread it to others.
Yeah, to spread the order, you have to convert other souls. So exactly, that's what a religion does. Yeah,
And that's exactly what we're seeing in this whole
yeah.
thing.
And the thing that
Is
bothers me with
they're
this,
spreading the mind virus to other people.
exactly, and the thing that bothers me with this is when the government itself takes hold of that. You can't, Christianity, we can't do that. You know what I'm saying? We don't want to be a Christian nationalist. We don't believe in none of that. So, well, okay, why? Fine. You don't believe in any other religion. Yeah, we are scared of Islam to a degree. But when it comes to the trans, gay, lesbian, LGBT kind of movement,
They
like,
believe in that.
yeah, the White House is having a party. Like Biden is having people taking off their top in a White House lawn. Like, how is that okay? That is crazy to me.
It's not. And that's just it. You can't have one without the other and then turn around and say, oh well, we're not promoting one religion over another.
Mm-hmm.
It's like this is the whole point of separation of church and state.
Exactly.
Well, look at it like this. Gay clubs are their church.
Yeah.
I mean, their clubs are their church.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
So I mean, it's what how much more of a comparison do you need to show that it's actually like a religion?
Yes, it is. It really is. Whew. Good point, though. The judge is on point.
symbol or Buddha or whatever it may be, but you can put a rainbow flag. And you can paint the sidewalks in D.C. rainbow colors, and you can have a government building with a banner rainbow hanging down 11 floors. You see, in other words, the government itself is imposing a religion that it's not giving the citizenry a choice as to whether to follow or not. And as far as the grooming of the children concerns, well, some of us remember if you don't go to church on Sunday, you can't go anywhere else the rest of the week. Well, mama may have taken you to church, mosque, temple, synagogue, whatever it may be, and you fell asleep after 45 minutes or whatever it is. But now, from kindergarten on, you sit there for 6 hours a day, and the teacher with jangles around her wrist and the itsy bitsy spider and all of that. And then they've got a rainbow flag on the wall, and they're teaching this to the kids 6 hours a day. So I know I can remember stuff that I learned when I was in the second grade. Occasionally it'll flash in the back of my head. So I can just wonder what some of these kids are going to be thinking in 70 years, whatever. I don't like the picture because I don't care what somebody does in their own bedroom. Get your freak on. That's your business. I mean, do it as long as you're not sending somebody to the hospital. But
Yes, sir.
It's keep it in the damn bedroom. When somebody starts trying to bust down your living room door and say, I'm coming in here with this. No, no. And then the other thing is we have to deal with.
That's my argument.
Mhm.
Live and let live. Do your thing, buddy. Do your thing.
Just
You
keep
can
it to
worship a
yourself.
keep it to yourself. Worship your tree. Don't try to evangelize my children. Not in this,
Mhm.
So that's been my argument. That's all.
And you know what? The beauty of it is Tennessee just passed a law stating that they're not allowed to have certain acts of nudity and stuff in public.
Yeah. Good. More states need
So,
to adapt to that.
in reference to this particular issue,
Mm-hmm.
and yeah, it put the whole community and people in an uproar about it.
Good.
And you know what? More power to Tennessee. I
Exactly.
want more states to do stuff like
Yes,
that.
of course. It's gonna take some guts. It's gonna take some heart. Enough. You don't have to take away people's rights and their rights to exist. You don't have to advocate for violence and all that. But this stuff, we need to protect the children. We need to
Mhm.
protect women's right. We need to protect other people's religious views. Period.
Well,
Because
the reason they passed this law is it came on the heels of a parade where
Mhm.
men were having relations with men in the middle of the street during a parade
That's crazy.
in front of everyone.
And that's the extreme side of this movement. What do you expect, though? It's all about sex. So when they take it to the next level,
It's all about pleasure of the flesh.
it's that's what it's all about. It's always been about that. It's not about freedom and all that. I think there was a time people were advocating for that, and there are some people who are homosexuals who, by all means, I can understand why they were arguing. But the stuff we are dealing with right now, that's a whole different monster. It's
Mhm.
all about the lust of the flesh, man. It's all about the lust of the eye, the pride of life. It's what about. It's all about
Mhm.
pleasing the flesh, like you said. Sheesh.
Manhood and rationality, reason, critical thinking, objectivity, and getting away from emotionalism. When I was on the bench toward the last few years, why'd you do this, young man? I was emotional. Would you please give the court a reason for why you did this? Okay, you were emotional, but what was your reason? You're asking the court not to send you to jail and put you on probation. But I was emotional. What? You started getting this kind of nonsense where it becomes a thing where the population has been propagandized into dysfunction. I mean, it's like, see, if you're going to have a healthy community, you have to have a balance between what the individual does and what the individual obligates himself to when it comes to the whole community. Duty, honor, obligation, responsibility, accountability, duty devolving into courage and elevating itself into bravery, so that what you're about is making where you live a better, safer, more secure place filled with economic prosperity, opportunity, all kinds of things, public peace, dignity, and order, where you are a man of public peace who can be brave and courageous when necessary. When the Titanic goes down, you say, ma'am, you and your child have my seat, I'll drown with the boat. But nowadays, some little fluffy comes in here with a dress. He wants to sit down and say, oh, hell no, get your ass up. I'm going to throw you over there.
I like Judge Joe Brown.
He's so base. Oh, I wish more men would speak like this nowadays. Oh, he's so base.
Right?
Love it.
This,
You
this,
can
this,
argue
this
against this
is
man.
these are words of wisdom.
Yeah. It's hard to argue against them. You can't find anything wrong. You can add, but you can't take away from anything he's saying.
No, not at all.
This guy is good, man.
let's chum the sharks, which you make nowadays. Some little fluffy comes in here with a dress. He wants to sit down and say, "Oh, hell no, get your ass up. I'm going to throw you over there. And let's chum the sharks," which you make everybody else say. You know, I mean, really, it is not all right to be a coward. We used to hunt as our number one first profession. And if you're going to do that, you have to have somebody watching your back, your six, so that people would be willing to put it on the line for each other. That's bravery and courage. And now they want to say, whoa, that's okay. Forget it. It's okay to be a coward. I even ran into something at one library I just stumbled into. I walked in and they were conducting a class.
I want to make a comment on something he was saying, you know, about somebody watching your six. Like, that's the way it was in the military. Like, the old adage is you join the military and you're not fighting for yourself to get home. You're fighting for your buddy to get home, because you know if he gets home, he's fighting for you to get home.
That's right. That's right.
So it's kind of, you're watching each other's back.
That's how
and that's what it's all about. It's that brotherhood, and that's what makes those bonds, and that's what creates that camaraderie, and that's what makes that brotherhood. You know, and that's I think something that's been lost on this current generation. Like we saw in that one video of, oh, the military's gonna force me to go fight. I don't think so. You know what?
That's a problem right there.
I would put you on the front line as cannon fodder. Okay, I'm sorry.
Yeah, it's crazy. Yeah.
So yeah, I mean, like, and that's my thing is we have lost that as a nation, as far as pulling together and finding that brotherhood and camaraderie and common goal to work together, to watch each other's back, to be there to make sure that, yeah, I'm doing my job so he can do his job, so that we both get home together. You're muted.
Yeah, that's how it's supposed to be. All right, let's bring the
with some kids about anti-hero. You don't want to be a hero. Being a hero is bad. Like, where the hell did these fools come from?
Hey, Judge, can I ask you a question? So,
Go ahead.
what? I want to know, what is their reason, especially if the government's involved? And I saw what you talked about the flag in front of the White House and stuff. What is their goal for demasculinizing us? Why are they pushing this call? Why is everything, everything is LGBTQ, and they're a small little minority group, but they are protected by the government? Like, what is their end game?
It's a religion. Just like Buddhism. It has no God, but Buddhism deals with the positive aspects of character. But you see, when you confront somebody with, hey, you can't do that, you got to get up and be up front. You got to put it on the line. Oh my God, I might get hurt. Yeah, that's the name of the game. Oh, great hero. He just sank a 3-pointer with 4 seconds left in the game, and the Lakers win by 1 point. Oh, come on. It's not being a hero. That's what we think of it now. You didn't put anything on the line. You got paid lots of money for doing what a lot of people do for recreation and exercise. So what is this where we de-emphasize those things that have kept us together, that have pushed the frontiers? You see, that's not going away. The sea levels are rising, some say, though I went out here and I noticed it in certain places in Miami. It's not where it was 35 years ago. It's a little higher, so something's going on. I've noticed, I used to have a place up in Aspen for about 10, 15 years, and I noticed that the snow level is dropping down. In fact, a few years ago, I put a marker on a ski lift pylon, and it kept inching down foot by foot, quite a few feet over the years. So something's going wrong, and the world is getting more populated, and resources are getting sparse, and this thing about manhood is going to become very valuable once again. So what are you supposed to do with all of that when you've been training the boys to get away from it? Because you see, getting up and giving up your seat on the Titanic takes a lot of conditioning from cradle to whenever you happen to be found in that situation. So you're not going to suddenly put that in, oh, man, I'm not getting up out of my seat. You can go do it. You're equal. Go swim with the fish. I got my seat. You know, that doesn't work.
So if you like this clip and you want
Oh, that was so base, man. I love
Yeah.
it.
Oh yeah. And you know, that is the thing, is like, even coming from the other side, you got modern feminists who would be like, oh, that's insulting, you take the seat. So I mean, you're not only do you have the fluffy foo-foo fifis,
Fluffy.
you got the
My
modern
kid will say,
feminists.
yeah.
You got the modern feminists who would turn
Mhm.
around and do the same thing, be like, oh, you, just because you're a man, you think you're better than me? No, you take the seat,
Mhm.
you know.
Exactly. Yeah.
And then some soy boy would end up on there. It's just,
It's crazy. You know, to be honest with you, I think the reason this is going on, Darth Vader, is because the question was asked, why is this happening? You know, why is the government supporting this stuff? Well, it's
it's
because
been foretold.
yeah, it's been written in scripture that God's wrath will be revealed against any men or any nation who hold the truth in unrighteousness. What's going on right now? We're in a phase of judgment. We're being judged. Like if you read Romans chapter 1, you know that you notice a world, and you can tell me whether it's happening in the United States. You can argue with that. You notice the nation who once had a strong core belief in God. Now, you may say the United States is not a nation, a Christian nation. I will say, yeah, but the Christian principles are at the heart of the United States. This is why you can come here and be free, no matter what part of the world you're from. That's Christianity. Um, the reason you have the freedom you have to vote for your particular leader, that's actually Christianity. That system we have is
The
the
freedom of
default.
speech, the freedom
You know
to
what?
defend yourself.
Exactly. All that's actually Christianity. That's not in other nations where communism is bear sway. They don't have these freedoms. Okay. Um, so the problem is that we knew God, we didn't glorify Him as God. The problem is the invisible things of them, which are clearly seen, being understood by the things which are made, even the invisible power, and they are without excuse. This is an argument against evolutionism. So you got creation, obviously speaking, and you shut it down. You said, I believe in evolution. What has our schools and teachings been about? There are churches who are promoting evolutionism. The Pope says that evolution and the Bible do not contradict. So when you got religion, you got church, when you got education, all of them are anti-God in their teachings, and you got the government anti-God in everything they do. What's the result? Well, they become fools. They change the glory of the incorruptible into that which is incorruptible man. Creeping things. Here's the thing. There it goes right there. Yeah, birds and creeping things. They begin to change the truth of God into a lie. Worship the creature more than the Creator, who is blessed forever and amen. There it is.
Well, and in that, you get to ask yourself, who is the creature? Well, we are.
Yeah,
We are the creature in that verse,
yeah,
because
we
we're
become
worshiping ourselves
Yep.
more than the creator.
That's what's going on. It's all about self identity, my experience, my this and that.
My
Man,
truth.
we're leaving the natural use of the women. This is homosexuality. We don't want women anymore. We want to become like them, right? And this is it. We're looking at it. They changed the truth into a lie. And if you read Romans chapter 1, you can see what's going on in the United States. And the Bible says, and this is the part, friends, you can't even support this. God says, knowing the judgment of God, they which commit such things are worthy of death. Now, look at the next part. Not only do the same, but people who have pleasure in them that do them. So don't even let them entertain you. So the condemnation is not only for the people that are doing it, but there's a condemnation also in scripture for the people who are supporting it. And I'm like, friends, I'll tell you something. You better tread softly when it comes to this stuff. You're dealing with some demonic stuff right here.
Which means all those parents who decide that they want to send their kids to all these drag shows and everything, they're going to have a rude awakening.
Oh yeah, yeah, yeah.